So many of you know me already as Lynn's photographer, but I can assure you that I do many other things other than photography. Photography happens to be one of the things that I enjoy the most, but I dabble into real estate. I dabble into the stock market. I own a dance school. I have a personal blog and my photography business. So today I'm going to just mention a few things of the businesses that I have that depend on SEO, search engine optimization. So number one, I have a personal blog, alainguillot.com. This blog, I have had it for about 15 years now, and it highly depends on SEO because I get paid advertisement fees. So people advertise in this blog, and at one time it was providing for my whole livelihood. It was giving me enough money to live on just on writing a blog post every other day. So also, so this is very powerful. The other business that I have is a dance school that it's been already 18 years. This is how I got started into SEO. How do I get people to go into my website and sign up for classes? And at a given time, I had over 200 students signing up every semester. So not only I had to get the word out, hey, I teach dance classes, but I also had to get people to register and pay for those dance classes in advance. And that's what started my journey. How do I get to be seen by people who are looking for dance classes? And my other business that is SEO dependent is my photography business, which every month brings me new clients. And not only bringing new clients, but last year I had the fortune of meeting Justin Trudeau, Tony Blair, the ex-Prime Minister of England, Jacinda Ardern, the ex-Prime Minister of New Zealand, and many others that I don't know how to pronounce their name, but it was a fun experience. And what do? They had a political event right here in Montreal. And they didn't go to Instagram to look for a photographer. They didn't go to LinkedIn. They went through Google and searched for event photographer Montreal. And I happened to be in page number one. And they liked what they saw and they hired me. So this is the power of SEO, which is you are out there in order for people who are searching for your service, your products, to be able to find you. And yes, I'm going to mention quite fast that social media is great, but social media is considered a closed garden. That means that the search engines generally don't have access to the information on social media. So, for example, if Lynn writes a fantastic post on her Instagram story or Instagram feed where she gives tons of wisdom, that is going to be there for as long as someone is scrolling, and then after that it's gone, or maybe it's there but it's not searchable. While if you produce any content on your website, that content is there forever, or at least for as long as you are paying for the hosting company to keep your website live. So that's the big difference between social media and having content on your own website. Social media content, it lives for a few seconds for as long as people are scrolling. And if you are constant doing that, that is a powerful tool. But the content that I created 10 years ago for my dance website, it's still bringing clients today. So that is very powerful. You may not see the results right away, but a few months down the line, you get to see, wow, this person found my product, my service, because they saw a blog post that I wrote 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, so on and so forth. So when we have a business, there are several, the way I see it, 4 ways to let people know that you have a business. Number one is word of mouth, which I consider that extremely powerful. That's why Lynn creates networking events so people can get to know each other and say, well, I'll do this and I can help you with that. And that is very powerful. That's how Lynn and I have established a relationship of many years. Social media, many of you are already experts in social media. You know how to post things in Instagram, in Facebook, in LinkedIn, so on and so forth. And it's a very powerful tool, but you have to continue feeding the machine. The day that you stop, then you are forgotten. Somebody else is going to take over. So it takes time, and not everybody, most of the people who follow you in social media, they already know about you. They already know about your product and service. So you are preaching to the choir. And so it's not easy to acquire new clients through social media. It's you are just reinforcing your brand. You know, Lynn is the person who talks about mortgages, and she is reinforcing her brand every day when she posts something. But I don't know how many new clients she gets from her post. I guess she will share that information later. And the last way, the other way to get clients is pay advertisement. And for that, I know absolutely zero. Okay, so you may have to get, I don't know, I think Nara is an expert on paid advertisement. So that may be one of the future talks that Lynn will have. So then, how does SEO works? Okay, so imagine every website out there is a book, okay, which is in a library, and Google is a librarian, okay? So when you go to a library and you say to the librarian, I want a book on X, the librarian can tell you, okay, go to the aisle 57, and in the bottom you will find it, something like that, okay? So when you type a request on Google, let's say mortgage broker Montreal, then Google goes to all these websites that it has available to them. They have this search engine, and then Google tries to provide the best results. Okay, so the best mortgage brokers are, I don't know, number one, I assume Lynn, but but then it will produce some other ones. Okay, so this is how it works. Okay, so if you want to be found on Google, number one, you have to have content. No content on LinkedIn, no content on Facebook, no content on Instagram, but content on a website. Okay, why? Because content in a website is generally searchable, while content on other social media is not. So then that request is done, and then Google will try to tell you, okay, so these are my results. Which one of these would you like? Okay, so if you want to show up in this result page, what do you have to do? Number one, you have to have content. Okay, if you have a website and you have some stock photos, and you say, I don't know, I'm a mortgage broker, call me for a quote, and that's all you have, then when Google compare that website to another website that has a lot of content, for example, how to deal with mortgages with this rising interest rate, how to, I don't know, how to get a loan, how to deal with negotiation. So Google see these two websites. One has just a name and a photo, and another one has lots of contents. Obviously, the one that has lots of contents is going to be higher in that priority. So content is very important. Then the next thing is updated information. Okay, so once again, we have two websites. One has information from 2 years ago, and the other one has information from last week. You know, like it's saying the Canada is lowering interest rates, and you know this is a time to start looking for a new property. This is an example. So which one of these two websites has more relevant information? Obviously, the one who has content from last week, and not the one that has content from 2 years ago. Okay, so that's tip number two. Time on site. Okay, then again, we have a comparison of two websites. One, when people go there and visit, they bounce out within, I don't know, 5 seconds. They say, "Oh, this is not for me." And in the other website, people scroll and read articles and go to the contact page, go to the about me page, look for comparison. So Google noticed that in one website, visitors spend 5 seconds, while in the other one, they spend 5 minutes. Okay, so then Google is going to offer that website which has more relevant information to the people who are seeking for information. Once again, imagine a mortgage broker or I don't know, real estate agents or website designers, whatever it is. So these are the factors that we have to consider whenever we have a website. Google is the librarian. How do I compare myself with other one? I think it's not necessarily how good looking a website is, but how relevant the information that you are providing. I mean, I have seen many artistic, beautiful websites, but the content is outdated, so it's just of very little value. One more thing is responsiveness. So if a website can be seen to a phone or to a tablet or to a desktop, this is one of the other factors that Google considers when you have a website compared to another one. So if your website is created with some outdated software, then it doesn't look good when you open it on a phone, and then people bounce out. And then there are other factors like how fast is the speed of your website. For example, this is a little bit more technical, but if you have huge images, let's say, I don't know, versus smaller images, then one will load faster than the other one. And this is another thing that Google considers of value. Okay, so then how do you go into putting all this information into practice? Number one, as I told you a minute ago, you have to have a website where you have to put content. Now, when you create a website, there are many people in our community who create website. Their website has to have a place, it's called a blog, where you update information constantly. And many of us are already used to putting information out there, because I know many of us have an Instagram account and a Facebook account and a LinkedIn account, and many of you guys already post content constantly. Now, the one thing to do is basically is as easy as taking that content and reposting it on your website. Because if it's in Instagram, it's not findable. But if you take the same content, let's say Lynn will do a summary of our conversation today, and she will repost that in Instagram. Well, she can take that same summary, maybe change a few words here and there, but take that same summary and repost it on her website. Now, this information is easy to find. And with tools that we have today, like uh, artificial intelligence that can basically take every word that I say and convert it into text, it's just as easy as that. Taking content, video, images, whatever, put it on your website. It just takes a few extra minutes, and now you have content that is findable, that is relevant, that is updated, and that people, the more content that you have, and the more fresh and the more relevant, the higher you will come up into the ranking. There's another piece of information. This is more difficult, but it's interlinking websites. So, for example, when you create a content on Instagram and someone asks you, tag me when you say this, or you are tagging people here and there, then that is the same thing that works on websites. You not necessarily tag people, but you link to other websites, and other websites link into you. So it's like a spider webs, that the more links it has, the more relevant it becomes on the eyes of Google. And also, who is mentioning you? So if I mention you on my website, it has certain value. But if the New York Times mentions you, that has a higher value. So let's say, I don't know, let's say the New York Times write an article about the mortgage industry in Montreal, and they randomly mention Lynn Service as one of the credible person to consult. Just because of that mention from a credible source, which is the New York Times, uh, Google sees that, and it says, Google doesn't know Lynn in person, but they know another website that has a good reputation is mentioning Lynn. So this is something that on your networking, on your interaction with every other people who have websites, if you could kind of arrange the same way that you do it in Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn to mention and link people, one person with another one. If you could link one website to another one, that is of great value. Every time I have an opportunity to talk about financial service, I link to Link's website. It's not I just mention it, but I also put a link in it, and that gives Link's website a little bit more relevance on the eyes of Google. So these are the techniques: produce content, ask for your website designer to create a blog, a place where you can just go and put information. It's not more complicated, I assure you, than creating information for LinkedIn or for Instagram. It's not more complicated than that. Sure, it's new and a lot of people get confused at the beginning, but after you do it a few times, it's really that easy. You can embed videos, you can embed photos, text, whatever you want. And those are the secrets. You have to produce content. The content has to be relevant. It has to be updated. And it has to be engaging enough for people to stick longer on your website, as opposed to, I don't know, I saw some people putting chat GPT text on their website, and chat GPT at the beginning is all this novelty, but after you read so many of them, they all begin to sound the same. And then people just tune out as soon as they see the same language over and over. They say, oh, this person didn't write this. But if you come and write something raw, like the way we do it on many of our Instagram stories, that will capture the attention of many readers. They see that it's real. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be real. It has to be human. And those are my main tips to be findable in Google. Just work on it. And the thing is that information, one of the things that people like about social media is that you post something and 5, 10 people like it already, and you feel like, oh, I'm getting a reaction. And the difficult part from SEO, search engine optimization, is that you post something and you may not see the results for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. So that is deflating, but you have to have faith on the system that it does work. Just search for whatever information you posted, go into the Google search and type the same kind of information, and you will see it coming up in throughout the ranks, and then you know that it's working. And then, of course, a few weeks later, someone will contact you to ask you for more information, and then you will know, okay, I am on the right track.